Welcome to Click for IB Biology. Here we're looking at the mechanism of natural selection, and in this particular video we're going to be thinking about competition and selection, and in particular again about the role of abiotic factors as selection factors in evolution. There's a blank version of this presentation, a PDF, is linked down in the description below. You can download that, add your own notes to it, and then following that you can take the 10 questions and their answers to check your own progress. So this graph we're familiar with already from our study of ecology. It's about population growth curves. This is very much the work of Evelyn Hutchinson, the picture shown on the left-hand side here. Hutchinson was a graduate of Cambridge University in the UK and operated academically out of Yale in the United States, and famously quoted that ecology is the study of evolution in action, and therefore by extension it's the study of natural selection in action. So people often say that you can't observe evolution because of its long timeline. This is not the case. Simply a study of ecology will be taking you into the field of evolution in operation. And in that operation, what we see is the tendency for populations to grow rapidly and overpopulate. And yet that overpopulation doesn't actually happen, because the environment has a carrying capacity, a limitation on the number of individuals who can survive. So the exponential growth curve, for instance, as one example, is deflected towards the sigmoidal growth curve of fewer individuals being able to exist within the environment up to the carrying capacity. But what we need to do here is update our ecological idea of counting the number of individuals within a population, is to appreciate that the number of individuals who survive, it's not simply the number who can survive, but also if they have the characteristics which allow them to survive. Do they have the advantages necessary to be able to survive the competition which will be existing for biotic factors such as food and reproductive mates, and to overcoming issues such as predation. But what we want to look at here are some of the characteristics which are seen when our selection pressures, the resistance to survival, are abiotic factors. Now, one of the most famous studies of the role of abiotic factors in evolution and ecology took place on St. Matthew's Island. Now, St. Matthew's Island is in the northern Pacific, close to the Arctic Ocean. So this is Alaska here. These are the Bering Straits here, and the red box indicates the location of St. Matthew's Island way out in the Bering Sea, an extremely remote location with a typical biome structure of tundra. Now, in 1944, with a military base located on the island of St. Matthew, there was an attempt to create a natural food source there through the introduction of caribou, or reindeer, you may wish to call it. The population you can see here at the beginning, so this is an artificially introduced population of caribou, and without any limitations on their population growth, since there are no predators, you can see that the population is showing something that approximates to an exponential growth over the years from 1944 up to 1963. Now, in 1963, there were particularly difficult conditions, abiotic factors. The winter was extremely severe, and as a consequence of this, the population of caribou, or reindeer as we call them, was greatly reduced. The population collapsed over the 1963 64 weather extremes. And we call something like weather non-biological, we call that an abiotic factor, which is selecting against individuals here. They're unable to survive. And this is called a density independent factor. And the key characteristic for students to notice where a density independent factor is operating is the sudden and dramatic decline in the population curve like this one. So we have these abrupt changes. These populations were studied over the years by David Klein in his published work on St. Matthew's Island, and this stands as a classic study of the effect of abiotic factors on survival as a survival factor when it comes to the mechanisms of natural selection. And we can see the population, in effect, collapsed due to the severe abiotic factors. So the links to looking at the influence of biotic factors and other types of natural selection mechanisms are to follow. There's the link to the channel and the playlist. It would be great if you could subscribe to the channel and show your support that way. Thank you very much.